Good, happy Thursday afternoon. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this Thursday afternoon edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on RK Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Thursday afternoon, so let's get started right now. First up, inside Trump campaign as former president prepares for court. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
Take a deep breath. Set your mind free. Think about what matters to you. Imagine a plan that can help guide you. A plan that's free from Fidelity.
We have team coverage of the former president this morning. Senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky is at the courthouse in Washington where Trump will be arraigned. And our chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce, is at Bedminster, New Jersey, where Trump is waking up this morning. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, Michael. The former president, spending his morning here at his New Jersey golf club before making his way to Washington. This is certainly not how the former president and Republican frontrunner was hoping to make his return to Washington, not for an inauguration, but rather instead his third indictment in just 4 months. He is expected to travel by private jet, sources telling us he'll be accompanied by members of his legal team and campaign staff. His motorcade will then wind its way through Washington, going just blocks from the White House and the Capitol. Trump returning to the alleged scene of the crime, but he is returning defiant. Trump insists this is all just an effort by President Biden and Democrats to weaponize the Justice Department against him. Trump himself telling ABC News this latest indictment is just a ridiculous pile-on. The former president trying to turn his legal woes and his legal defense into a campaign rallying cry. Now, he does not have any other events scheduled for today, though we are told he is possibly considering speaking to reporters after his court appearance.
Well, hey there, GMA fan.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Analysts weigh in on impact of Trump indictments on 2014 campaign.
To me, this particular indictment is by far the most important because it really strikes at the heart of American democracy.
But will these charges, on top of the charges the former president is already facing, be a hurdle on the road to the Oval Office? That's a tough question.
I think Donald Trump's opponents are already showing that they don't have the willpower to stand up and criticize him. They are afraid of his voters, they're afraid of his base, and they're afraid of him.
There are, of course, other Republicans vying for the nomination. The analysts say those candidates are paralyzed from saying anything against Trump because the hold he has over the base. And the ones who have spoken out are showing up at the bottom of the polls.
Instead of criticizing Donald Trump, they're criticizing the justice system, which I think is utterly absurd.
The analysts say the decision of whose name will appear on the Republican nominee of next year's ballot will fall on the voters, and not the Trump faithfuls or the anti-Trumpers, but the voters still on the fence, unsure which way to go.
Will those voters in the middle of the party be willing to abandon Trump because of this? So far, there's no evidence that that's the case.
And as for the Republican Party overall, they say it's hard for the party to cut ties with the former president because over the last several years, he's become the face of their party, and cutting ties now could have negative impacts on next year's election. Live in Portsmouth, Kelly O'Brien, WMUR News 9.
Every so often.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And we can tell you that former President Trump will be coming back to New Hampshire next week.
And breaking news just into our newsroom. We are learning former President Donald Trump will visit New Hampshire next week. He's set to deliver remarks in Windham next Tuesday afternoon.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. 20-year-old arrested after hours-long standoff in Northwood. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Well, Aaron, we now know the name of the suspect, the man who police say was barricaded inside that home is 20-year-old Gabriel Burgess of Northwood. Now, according to Northwood's police chief, they were called to the 27 Priest Road for report of a disturbance. We were able to capture some video of Burgess being taken into custody. That happened about 3 o'clock this morning. Now, the police chief says yesterday afternoon at about 2:15, officers were called for that report of a disturbance to Priest Road. While they were speaking with Burgess, he made some threatening statements at the officer and brandished a rifle. Now, the officers backed off and the standoff then ensued. It would take over 12 hours before Burgess finally surrendered. The police chief crediting an officer who was able to establish a rapport with Burgess. Now, there were some people initially in the home with Burgess when that call for disturbance came. However, they got out before the rifle was brandished. Some neighboring homes were told to shelter in place. Again, the whole situation ending peacefully this morning, just about 3 o'clock. As for Burgess, he's currently being held. He will be arraigned later this morning at Superior Court, Rockingham County Superior Court in Brentwood. He's been charged with 2 counts of criminal threatening with a deadly weapon. Reporting live in Northwood, Ray Brewer, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Man hit and killed by car in Portsmouth identified. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
New on Daybreak, we now know the name of the man who was hit and killed by a car while walking near Prescott Park in Portsmouth. Police identified the victim as 53-year-old Robert Mayo. We're told he's lived in both Hooksett and Londonderry. Police say he was killed around 5 a.m. Tuesday near the intersection of State and Marcy Streets. They say the driver was found a short distance away.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. New owner of mall at Fox Run in Newington plans to keep all current tenants. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
New this morning, the mall at Fox Run in Newington has a new owner. Torrington Properties says it will keep all of the current tenants in the mall, with plans to attract new businesses to fill vacancies. Torrington also bought the nearby Newington Park Shopping Center in 2021, where it's now putting in a Chick-fil-A.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. New Hampshire man accused of killing dismembering wife in 2021 appears in court for a hearing. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
The man accused of killing and dismembering his wife from Northfield nearly 2 years ago made his first court appearance in months. Joseph Ferlazzo stood before a judge yesterday for a motion hearing. His lawyers were given approval to test the firearms found in the camper where he allegedly killed Emily Ferlazzo in October of 2021. Joseph told police he shot, killed, and dismembered Emily while they were traveling to Vermont to celebrate their wedding anniversary. He pleaded not guilty to first-degree murder after his arrest.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this afternoon edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on RK Network. Thank you for tuning in and watching. Have a great afternoon, everyone, and day. Goodbye.